What is going on, everybody? Welcome here to the Purple and Gold podcast. I am recording this a few hours after the loss to the LA Rams in the wild card round, and I'd be lying to you guys if I said I was surprised by this. I was expecting it, to be quite honest with you guys. It's Minnesota Vikings football, and at a certain point, you just become numb to the pain. Now, I don't want to see any comments about you guys saying, oh, you need to change your attitude and you need to be more optimistic and you need to be more faithful in this team. I am more loyal and more faithful to this team than most people in general are to their teams. Okay? I watch this team for every goddamn minute that they play. And I've done that for I don't even know how many years now. It doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter what our record is. I am watching everything. And at a certain point, you just watch enough football and you just get numb to the pain. Because again, if I were to let myself go and just, be like, oh yes, we're going to do it today. We're going to make a run to the Super Bowl. I'd be so depressed. It's not even funny. If you couldn't tell, I love this team. Like, I am so passionate. But at a certain point, I need to save myself and take care of my mental health. And the way that I do that is just keeping my expectations at an extreme low. Because, again, January and the Minnesota Vikings, they don't really like each other for some reason. So anyway, we're going to go on a little bit of a rant. This is my second rant in 2 years. And look, if you guys don't like the negativity, just get out of here. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm just being honest. That's all I can do. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be straightforward. I'm going to be blunt. And I'm not going to get emotional about this. I'm going to tell it like it is. Because in my opinion, that's the only way that we should be looking at this. Okay? It doesn't matter how we feel or, putting the vibes out there. No. We suck. We suck. We are the worst 14-win team of all time. We are the only 14-win team to be a wild card team. Find a more Minnesota Vikings stat than that. So look, the main reason why I'm making this video, and there's a lot of things that we can talk about. I think this is hilarious. Some people actually thought that we should have gave Sam Darnold the extension by now. And if you still believe that, boy, I don't know what to tell you. This man, Sam Darnold, is a good story. A feel-good story. But I'm not here for a feel-good story. None of y'all should be. We're here to watch a Super Bowl. Okay? I'm not here to be the team that makes the headlines for any other reason except for the fact that we won the Super Bowl. Like, that should be the standard. And everyone in that building should be hungry for that because, man, if you bring that first Super Bowl to Minnesota, you will be immortalized until the end of the world. Anyway, before I get off topic, Sam Darnold is not the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And I hope I'm not breaking any news to anybody because this man single-handedly brought the entire team down for the last 2 weeks. Like I said, good story, but we're not here for that. Okay? Because now we're going to go down as the worst 14-win team in NFL history. And that's not a joke. Now, he can go make his money somewhere else. But the guy folded worse than any other quarterback I have ever seen. I mean, we're talking about a guy who looked like a top 7 quarterback in the league and then forgot how to play football the last 2 weeks. How does that happen? Like, I'm just like, I thought the guy was smart. He went to USC. I mean, not everyone can get into USC. And then he plays like he went to school at a GPA that requires like what, 2.1, 2.2? I mean, what the hell is the guy doing out there? He holds the ball longer than any other quarterback, starting quarterback in the league. It's him and Justin Herbert are 1 and 2. If y'all are complaining about the offensive line, yes, They didn't play perfect. But a majority of the sacks that were taken today were Sam Darnold's fault. The guy's got to learn how to throw the ball away, be more decisive with the football. And I don't know. He thinks he's Superman in the pocket. He's made a lot of great plays evading pressure this year. But he had to have known after that Detroit game that, damn, maybe these guys are scheming it up because the guys across from me aren't very talented, but they're still getting home. I wonder why. Maybe it's because they know what I'm going to do. I mean, the guy turned his back towards our end zone and tried to run away from pressure and then got sacked. And I was like, damn, that's all I needed to know. Okay? Sam Darnold just doesn't got it. Okay? And the big reason why we shouldn't bring him back, for those of you who still need convincing, is because a good regular season, yes, it means something. But to me, you can get a good quarterback who's also good when it matters most. When the stage is the biggest, when the lights are the brightest, we need a quarterback that can perform. And this is not the guy. And it's just absurd to me that some of you guys still think that we can still throw 40, 45, maybe more, millions, and millions of dollars at this guy. He doesn't deserve it. Okay? Again, he is a good story, but he should not be the franchise quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Okay? We drafted J.J. McCarthy in the top 10. The guy that was supposed to be the bridge ended up playing really well, but proved to us that he gets nervous and his brain shuts off when we need him to play the best. And at this point, that's all that matters. Sam Darnold is the embodiment of the Minnesota Vikings franchise history. And why do I say that? It's because this is a team that has always been consistently good throughout its history, right? So many great players have come through this building. Hall of Fame players, okay? And I'm not saying that Sam Darnold is a Hall of Fame guy, but if we look at the bigger picture, in the regular season, he was really good. And then the postseason comes, and then he's trash, and he can't finish. That is basically the Minnesota Vikings in a nutshell. A very condensed history of the team. Very good in the regular season, and just very bad in January. They don't know how to play postseason football. And look, I know a time will come where the guy at quarterback will be there in the big moments, and he will play like one of the best quarterbacks in January. But his name isn't Sam Darnold. So let's just make that very clear, okay? This discussion should be dead. There should be a report that comes out tomorrow saying that the Vikings are not interested in bringing back Sam Darnold, because if they even play around with the idea, look, you could bring Sam Darnold back for $5 million, and I wouldn't bring him back. I wouldn't bring him back. Because he ain't a big-time player. It's going to be the same shit that we see this year. He's going to play super well in the regular season. He's going to trick everyone. And then he's going to get up there in the postseason and then just forget how to play football again. He can go make his money somewhere else. And truth be told, I think Sam Darnold lost a lot of money in these last 2 weeks. Because teams are going to be like, wow, like, can we really trust this guy in the postseason? Can we trust him to do as much as he did with Kevin O'Connell, who is slowly building a reputation of becoming the quarterback whisperer for rejuvenating the careers of average quarterbacks? It's so disappointing. It really is. And the Kevin O'Connell discussion is another thing that's really interesting to me because he's 0-2 in the playoffs now. We got outcoached for a second time in the playoffs. Like, yeah, Sam Darnold wasn't good. I've made that very clear. But we shouldn't have lost to the Giants in 23, in 22. Even if we weren't going to win the Super Bowl that year, we shouldn't have lost to the Giants. And I mean, we are a 14-2 team, and we just did not show up, and we didn't play clean football at the end of the day against a 10-7 Rams team that, you know, offensively was hobbling into the playoffs because they were putting up less than 20 points in each of those games. So it's just I'm speechless. It's just unfortunate to watch time and time and again. I mean, I love this team. I really do. But like I said, to avoid the depression and the sadness in my heart that I would feel if I was just emotionally attached to this game, it would do a goddamn toll on me. And it has before. I still remember crying on the couch after Blair Walsh missed the kick in the 2015 wild card. I cried. I remember I cried again when we lost to Matt Moore at Arrowhead. I know that's really random. I'm sure some of you guys remember that. So embarrassing, man. But not anymore. I don't feel the pain anymore. It is what it is. It's expected. I am just praying that JJ McCarthy is the one. The one that will bring us to the promised land, will bring home the Lombardi trophy. Oh, man. This was a tough one, man. I mean, like, it got to a certain point where, like, I feel like I wasn't even watching the game. I was just looking at the screen, if that makes sense. Just a hard watch, man. So yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, look, there were a lot of signs this year that this team wasn't good enough. The Arizona game was way too close. Like, that's a team that you should really be beating down on. The fact that it was as close as it was at any point in the game in the two competitions that we had with the Chicago Bears, I think was another sign. And I think the fact that we would just keep letting teams back into the game. Green Bay on 2 occasions. San Francisco comes to mind. Those things can't happen. I mean, like, real good teams dominate. And they have a few statement wins throughout the year. And I just feel like we didn't really have any of those. And this has been a common theme in the Kevin O'Connell era, right? Where we keep things close for whatever reason. We love to just make the game interesting. Now, from an entertainment standpoint, it does numbers. But if we really want to win a Super Bowl, I mean, we got to figure out how to close teams out. And, like, again, I mean, it just spins back to the Kevin O'Connell conversation. It's just such an interesting dynamic because I do think he is a good coach. He is a good coach. You don't just have a team show up every Sunday and, miraculously pull off those close games. Like, that comes through a well-coached team. But is he a big-time coach? It's still yet to be seen. I think, okay, for any of you guys who might have any thoughts on this Kevin O'Connell situation and Kwesi's situation, the new era really begins now, okay? I know literally it started 3 years ago, but I mean, this is their fingerprints all over this team in 2025 now. And this mainly speaks towards the quarterback, where they took the guy that they wanted in JJ McCarthy, and we're going to see what they can do with their guy. And I think that's why the Vikings haven't given O'Connell or Adolfo-Mensah an extension yet, because we need to see the results of what they've put together in their version of the Minnesota Vikings, right? Because, again, there were still parts of Spielman and Zimmer still lingering around, and they've kind of cleared it up to the point where this is becoming the Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell identity of the Minnesota Vikings. So we'll see. Like, again, I really hope JJ is as good as I think he's going to be. But man, I mean, this is just, it's difficult. It's really difficult to put into words. And again, like, how does this happen? A 14-win team, for one, didn't win the division, but was a wild card team, and then proceeded to put together the worst football that we have seen from them all season. I genuinely think that was worse than the Detroit game, because at the very least, in Detroit, they were moving the football, they just weren't finishing it. This was just through and through a terrible performance. And we couldn't even win with Brian Flores as our defensive coordinator. We had 2 head coaches, and we still couldn't win. It's just like, wow. Like, when is it all going to come together You know, I don't know. I am experiencing a lot of emotions right now. I mean, look, I'm numb to the pain, but it's still saddening. It still makes me upset. But I don't know. Life moves on, I guess. Sometimes it is for the better to just fully press reset, and there was an opportunity to do that a few years ago, and instead we've decided to just be good but not great again, continuing the long lasting history of the Minnesota Vikings. There just comes a point where like you got to just be hungry, and you just got to be like, damn, like I want this team to be great. And maybe the way that we've been doing it for the last 60 years, yeah, maybe that blueprint just sucks. You ever think about that one? I mean, it hasn't worked. I don't know, man. It's just difficult. Again, I hope the things that I just said are not true. I hope JJ McCarthy is the answer. I hope he brings us to the promised land. I hope he wins us that Super Bowl. But man, being a Vikings fan here today on January 13th, 2025, things have not changed. It's the same old Vikings letting us down. God. It just hurts, man. It just does. Because there's not many 14-win teams in NFL history that have looked as flat as this team did today. So, anyway, I think that's all I need to say. I guess I'm just going to be sad until the preseason rolls around again. But yeah, I mean, I still love my team. I'm always going to love my team. But this shit sucks, man. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button to make my day at least a little bit better. Hit the like button. Feel free to go in the comment section below. I will gladly spark up a conversation with some of you guys. But until then, I guess we'll keep believing. Skol Vikings. Bye.